I remember reading Keith Green's book about his life story, and just crying just reading his book and just some of the things he
For
had
anyone
done.
that doesn't know, including me, about Keith Green, like what was his perspective or what happened in his life?
Well, he kind of would have came to faith during a hippie movement in America, and he was a musician, and he he had like different sort of supernatural experiences that kind of like reminded you of the Book of Acts, and I remember just when I was reading the book, I was like really hungry. I was like, whoa, like these things actually are still happening today, and I had not really experienced those things in church, but I started to kind of experience those kinds of things. I remember there was one time I was on a bus to Dublin to go to a concert, and I was with a friend, and I was kind of talking to him about my faith, and I we were just very quietly talking, and this lady a few seats up from us just suddenly gets out of her seat and starts screaming at me and swearing at me, and she started shouting, "You've come on this bus to torment me," and it just seemed like such a manifestation. And
And this was on the
I
way to
would,
Dublin, did you say?
yeah, I was just on the bus from Ballyshannon to Dublin, and the bus driver actually stopped the bus and came up to see what
Wow.
was going on. And this lady couldn't have physically heard our conversation, but
Yeah.
something in the spirit really triggered her, and she
Wow.
started to really verbally attack us. And things like that just really made me see that there was more to this world than just the natural, and more than just what we see with our eyes. And that kind of
How did
had
that
come.
kind of play out in the end? Like how did that situation end up going?
Well, different people in the bus just tried to speak calmly to her and say that these guys had done nothing to provoke. And the bus driver made her sit at the front of the bus and
Mm-hmm.
just kind of keep her separately. And I remember we went to the concert. It was a Bob Dylan concert, and I remember we were waiting for the bus on the way home, and we saw the same lady, and she walked past us again, and she just looked at us and recognized us, and she looked really kind of scared or sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really at that moment really recognized that it wasn't
Yeah,
her.
there's
It
definitely something
wasn't her
spiritual
that
involved in that.
had like said those things. It was a spiritual entity.
Wow.
And I suppose like I'd read in the Bible about angels and demons and the Holy Spirit, and I suppose that kind of given me a hunger to really go deeper with God and experience Him.
I guess it takes experiences like that for it all to sink in really and to like become real. Like you kind of need to see these things tangibly playing out before you realize like there's things in the book like in the Bible that sound like stories, but then I guess when you see them play out, then it brings a whole new perspective on what actually is possible within the world, if you know what I mean. Like you kind of think it sounds like a completely separate storyline almost, like so long ago, almost like a long time ago in a galaxy far away, and then as soon as you experience things like that, I guess then it brings it all home that all this is very real.
Yeah, like I think you learn as much through experience as through information.
Mm.
Like we can all read and we can all, hear things, but it's really the experiences that we have that shape us. And because you can never argue with someone's experience or testimony.
Yeah.
And I think probably over the last 10 years since I've been since I did my DTS, and even before that, it's probably been experiences that have shaped me. And then the information you're hearing and the teachings and the books you're reading are kind of like, put in the language to that. But
Mm-hmm.
you're really shaped by experiences.